Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Heroes of Newerth World Cup by the Gosu Gamers. Today, this is game number 2 of DuskBin Esports taking on Evil Geniuses in the winner bracket. We just previously saw game number 1 with myself, Sean, FourCourtJester Delaney from GameReplays.org, and of course, I still have the one, the only Matt Insane Rabbi Levin from Cybernetics TV. How are you still doing, sir?
I am doing good. I'm excited for game 2. Game 1 was actually, it was pretty unbelievable. Back and forth game. You don't really see that a whole lot in competitive esports. Usually a team gets an advantage and holds it, but neither team could really secure a lead. Slight advantage one way, slight advantage the other. And DuskBin taking it down in game 1. Grats to them. Game 2 should be interesting. I'm going to run through the bans and picks real fast. This time we have DuskBin with first pick, first ban. It goes Pebbles, Dr. Repulsor, Tundra, Defiler, Bombardier, Thunder, standout ban would be Defiler there. EG banning it because they do not want to see DuskBin playing that Defiler again. As for picks, Witchslayer first picked from DuskBin, responded to with Bubbles and Andromeda, then Hellbringer, Wretched Hag, Behemoth, Forsaken Archer, Soulstealer Magnus, and Corrupt the Disciple bringing it out. So we are going to see the Andromeda, Behemoth, Forsaken Archer tri-lane bottom. Wretched Hag needing to be a little bit careful there. Hasted Corrupt the Disciple doing some work on him up there. And look at this. We see a 2-1-2 setup versus a tri-lane. Interesting. Normally we'll see two tri-lanes and ooh, Behemoth, get that fissure. There it is. Forsaken Archer throwing the nuke out, trying to do some work onto Hellbringer. Andromeda kind of not in the best way right there. Needed to come in, at least force the stun from Witch like that. Here comes another stun and chase him down, and Hellbringer is going to go down right there. So great job. Fuji Apple's bit of a miscommunication there most likely with the rest of his team. Nevertheless, picking up the kill on that Hellbringer on bottom. And look at this. 2-1-2 versus Tri-Lane. Tri-Lane already getting the kill. And things already at the start not looking good for DuskBin.
Yeah, well, Evil Geniuses, they did go down that first game, and they are going to be looking for retribution. A quick first kill like that can do worlds for your morale, especially in this high-level game of play. I mean, we are in the round of 8, the quarterfinals of the winners bracket of the World Cup. I mean, I cannot imagine the pressure that these players are under right now, because if they do lose this game, they're going to be bumped right down to the lower bracket, and that is nowhere you want to be if you want to keep, a good name intact. But with the 2-1-2 setup, with the tri-lane down south, they are making use of this jungle camp, so they are kind of transforming it more to a 1-1-2 situation with a little bit of help of the jungle here, and that's just as a retaliation to this double lane that DuskBin is throwing at them.
You know what I really don't like? I don't like Andromeda pulling right there. If Andromeda would have been in lane, they could have easily gotten a kill, if not two. Behemoth needs to hit a fissure, Andro needs to hit a stun, and Forsaken needs to follow it up. Here we go, though. Magnus with DD coming in on mid. Nice Witchslayer stun Mag, chaining it with that DD, although I think Chu's going to be able to get out of here just fine. And Magnus needs to be very careful now. He's going to get turned on. He's not going to have enough mana for a stun. He's 10 mana short, trying to flask up. Nuke coming out. Corrupt the Disciple. You can't gank Chu in the middle lane. Don't do it. I'm kidding. You can gank him, but no joke. Chu, arguably the best solo mid player in the game. You just can't do it. Andromeda coming in here, though, on bottom. Stunning Hellbringer. Throwing the Aurora. Forsaken going to the right. I don't know what he was doing right there. Still gets the stun, though. And it looks like, yes, Hellbringer is going to go down. And this is what happens when you have a tri-lane, man. There's no way for a solo or for even a dual lane to try and go up against a tri-lane this strong. So either you answer with the tri-lane yourself, or you have to concede the lane. You have to give them this lane. Keeping two people down here and just letting those two people get shut down by the opposing three, it's not worth it. So I don't really like what I see here from DuskBin. I don't think they're answering EG's strategy well enough. And, props to EG throwing down a successful tri-lane.
Well, they have done a retaliation. However, it is not going to be against that bottom lane. In the middle, Chu, after that pickup kill on Magnus, I mean, he was so close to going down, but he turns that right back around. He's going to be facing off against two heroes here now in the mid, and this is going to be a retaliation from DuskBin, going to be trying to keep down that solo mid hero. If you can keep down the enemy's, very heavy farming carry, the guy that does a lot of damage later on, then, that's going to be a big advantage for your team. team. A little bit of action down south with Behemoth taking some harass, but it does look like Witchslayer is doing a little bit of reconnaissance here. He picks up the double damage rune, and now either he's going to go and stack the jungle, or he's going to try to get off a successful gank with that. But we'll have to see what they do, as he does leave now Chu, solo back up against Wretched Hag.
You know, two things I have to say about putting 2 mid against Chu. A, after you feed Chu a kill like that, Wretched Hag blinking forward, taking a lot of damage though. Oh, I thought I was going to see more damage coming out from CD. I take that back. I'm sorry. The thing with putting 2 people in mid is, A, Chu's still going to be able to farm against it. Why? He's Corrupt the Disciple, and Corrupt the Disciple's 3rd spell, amazing. Wretched Hag, no single target disable, means he has no slow, so you're relying solely on Witchslayer to throw out the disables. Well, guess what? Witchslayer's 2nd spell, single target spell directly going on to Corrupt the Disciple, he's going to get slowed off thanks to Static Discharge. So really, CD is not going to be taking... he's not going to be able to be chased down. If Hag was to throw his single target slow onto Corrupted Disciple, he would be slowed down as well. And here we go, Behemoth stun, Forsaken Archer stun on bottom, Mag stunning in on Andromeda, but it's not going to be enough. Even with the boil coming out, Andro may end up going down, but HB is going to die right here. And look at this, they're trying to take down this Magmus, although eating creeps is Forsaken Archer, needs to be a bit careful. And yep, 3v2, man, there's not a whole lot you can do about it, and I don't really like to see it. You either need to concede the lane, put 1 person pulling in jungle, 1 person mid, and 3 people top, or you need a hero with an escape mechanism that could solo that long lane, 1v3, or you just need to run your own tri-lane against it. None of those have been done, so DuskBin, although they impressed me in game 1, right now, just not feeling it. So regen here on bottom is going to be picked up by DuskBin. And Andro sitting there kind of forcing the enemy out of lane. Not a whole lot going on, though.
Well, we are only 6 minutes into the game. We do have 4 kills on the board. 3 of those do belong to the Hellbringer. Now, Hellbringer, usually you want to rush him up to his level 6 if you are going to be playing him as a strong hero. In this kind of capacity, sharing a lane, he's going to be very delayed to his big tool, which is going to be that ultimate, his Malphus, as he does get a lot more action going down right here. Forsaken Archer is going to be picking up that kill with the help of that extremely long-range Fisher from Behemoth. That's going to be 4 kills now landed on this Hellbringer. They are doing worlds of hurt against him, but at the same time, they're leaving him powerless to farm and powerless to level up. I mean, he is still level 3, almost 7 minutes into this game. We're not going to be seeing a Malphus coming out anytime soon.
Right, and a Hellbringer without levels, I mean, he can kind of tail off and go into a support role, but you like to see him ding level 10 as soon as possible. He gets that level 4 life void where he can sit and survive in team fights. He can tank it up. He can lower their magic armor significantly. And of course, his death boil is still level 4, so it's doing tons of damage. But even at that, he needs ding level 10. He needs to get those levels, and he's just not doing it right now. He's sitting there on boots, hasn't even finished his chalice yet. Forsaken Archer level 6, Mag 5, HB 3. Ugh, it's just awful to kind of watch right now. It's heartbreaking. We do have Ghost Marchers being picked up on Forsaken Archer. If FA gets any help whatsoever on bottom, pinging bottom, see? You gotta be bottom. Andro roaming to mid, not really doing what needs to be done. Action top, sorry I missed it. Bubbles and Behemoth picking up a kill. I didn't see who that was on. Did you happen to catch that?
It was the Witchslayer, Iskaputski, a little bit of a harder name to say, but he was comboed down with the Fisher as well as the combo to the Kelp Field from Bubbles, and that's a great combo to set up, especially against a hero. You can't run away after you get stunned, and you have a Kelp Field on top of you, else you're just going to take more damage, so you got to take your chances. The chances were not good for Witchslayer, as he did go down to that.
Right now we do have Corrupt the Disciple coming in here with Forsaken Archer. No opening initiation on this setup. That is my only concern. But the lane is going to push here nevertheless. I don't think you're going to see HB or Magmus push out. You even see Magmus going all the way back. And pinging, going off in mid, Hag being forced to blink away.
Well, right now she's blinking away from an Andromeda who's level 3. Now we do want to set up something. We did have Behemoth throw down the Fisher there, but who's playing the B Kid? I almost called him B Diz. B Kid just not judging that length quite enough because it just ended a little bit too far from that. Now that's going to give big confidence here to Wretched Hag as she tries to grab a little bit of damage here on the Andromeda, but in comes Chu right through that tower, gets stunned by the Magmus. It's not going to be enough. Bubbles Sabuska, he's going to be able to pick up a kill, and now he's going to be tried to be chased down here by Ninja Boogie. Not going to happen. So a 1-1 exchange, but I mean those two heroes have very different capacities. Right now the solo mid went down for Evil Geniuses, and we only were able to pick off a roaming Magmus, so not the best exchange in favor of Evil Geniuses there.
Right, the exchange started with Wretched Hag throwing her ultimate out and actually missing every enemy hero. So Wretched Hag threw the ult, blinked forward, screamed, tried to do all the damage she could, did very little damage. CD then initiated. Everybody was going after that Wretched Hag. Unfortunately, though, for CD, he basically got completely counter-ganked. There was 2 Hellborn heroes waiting to throw down against him, and what's worse than just dying as CD right there was the fact that he picked up the Invis rune and had been trying to find a gank, trying to get some sort of hero kill for like the last minute. That is 2 creep waves of farm. That's 400 gold and a little bit of experience that was basically not there. That was negated. So a bit unfortunate for CD after all that time trying to get a hero kill, not even going to get it. And here we go, Bubbles throwing what he can out, and there it is. Great job by Forsaken Archer and Bubbles picking up the kill. Things are just getting more and more in EG's favor.
Yeah, very strong early game coming out of Evil Geniuses. Now, Forsaken Archer is a great hero to have. She's a great semi-carry to have for your team. These skeletons just pack so much of a punch after they start getting in range and numerous. I think she has 5 skeletons out right now, and they all do 26 to 32 damage. That's an extra 100 damage. Like if all 5 of them swing, that can really add up over fights. Now we do have another invisibility on the Corrupted Disciple. He is invisible here in the mid. The Aurora coming out from Andromeda is going to give a little bit of sight into what they're going to be looking for. That's going to land the Fisher there on top of Ninja Boogie, but it's not going to be enough to really warrant any kind of jump. This tower is really, really healthy. It's not very damaged at all. And I'm not too sure, but they might have seen the Switch Slayer with that Aurora. So wisely, EG not moving in here in the mid.
Yeah, absolutely. Now notice Static Discharge level 2 already, so it is going to slow people that chase him down with single target spells for 0.6 seconds. Did they force that Hag Blink? No. If they can force the Hag Blink, he can then use Corrupted Conduit. Nice fissure hitting 2 heroes. Bubbles coming in is going to do a load of work. Great teamwork there by EG, throwing 3 different burst spells instantaneously. And look at this, Hellbringer throwing his ult, doing what he can. Behemoth kind of in trouble there, having Malphus, Boyle, and the tower hitting him. He's going to get out just fine, though. And look at EG's teamwork. This is the style of champions.
Well, picking up a hat trick is going to be Chu. He's now sitting at a 4-1 score, and that is exponentially going to increase his farm. He's up to 312 gold per minute. Now trying to take this tower, is going to get that tower. 352 gold a minute right there. I mean, that is an exponential gap. I can only imagine what it was beforehand, but just really ignoring the Malphus. That was our first Malphus we had, as we do have level 6 on the Hellbringer, and it's hit 12 minutes, level 6. Poor guy, just hit so far. But Dodo up top, he's going to get initiated upon here by both Wilders and Mr. Swish. He might be able to get out of this, depends. We got still 1 second on the stun by Malphus. He is going to exit the scene, however. They do not want to get chased into any kind of ambush at all, so wisely, they backed off. They did get the tower, or was that tower denied? That tower was actually denied.
If you took a look, Forsaken Archer sat there tanking creeps the whole time to make sure she didn't have to last hit against them. And, I mean, it's just a little added extra protection, you could say, from, oh, whoops, I misclicked, oh, I mistimed it, and now they get the full gold for the tower. Instead, denying the tower and taking, 300-400 damage to do it, perfectly acceptable. It was the right play. People are like, oh, just time it well, man up and do it. Well, you know what? Sometimes, instead of doing flashy things, safe plays are the way to go, solid plays are the way to go. Grats out to EG Dodo, heads up play, tanking some creeps, taking some damage, knowing that even if Matt comes in with a stun, he's going to be able to get away and still get that tower deny.
Oh, Wretched Hag has found Fuji apples down here, so Ninja Boogie and Wowzers, they're in pursuit. They are going to, however, get that kill. I'm not too sure that Behemoth Fisher from B-Kid was going to be enough, really, to help her out regardless, but 3 heroes now on the scene of the crime. It's Iskaputski. That's just a fun name to say. Level 4 Witch Slayer. He is training a little bit, but where is damage going down here, sir?
Action top, we did see Bubbles taking a lot of damage from Soul Stealer, who did win his lane top pretty decisively. I mean, it's Bubbles versus Soul Stealer. It's not exactly the easiest matchup in the world for Bubbles to win. It's actually not as imbalanced as people might think. Soul Stealer, he's so strong, he's the greatest. Yes, but Bubbles' orb and his overall base mana means he can actually spam his orb just as often as SS can throw out his nukes. And because Soul Stealer doesn't have runes to control, nor does Bubbles, that actually usually goes in Bubbles' favor because of the pseudo blink. He can get to the runes faster. So Bubbles, with that disadvantage, it does kind of go back into Soul Stealer's favor a little bit. Nevertheless, Bubbles did what he could, but instead of sitting there trying to shut down the SS, did the smart thing, has been moving around, has been roaming, and because of that, you see a 12-2 hero kill advantage in favor of EG.
And that is going to translate to about 3,000 experience, 6,500 gold. We've actually now destroyed all 3 of the extraneous towers here for DuskBin. So they have lost all their river towers. That's a big safety net that has now been demolished by evil geniuses, as well as a good amount of gold in their pocket. As I said, it is now approaching the 7,000 mark as Witch Slayer gets hit by the Shell Surf into the kelp field. Notice how he's not going to be running away from that kelp field because that's just going to be an insta-kill. Instead, he will go down. But we will have Andromeda also picked off here with the bubbles. So we just had some great support coming in from DuskBin. They saw the gank, they went to help out, and it actually came out in their favor in that round.
Right. You don't normally see an Andromeda to come in, throw a swap, try and save people, and then end up the person they're trying to save dies as well. So it was a bit unfortunate there for Andromeda and Bubbles, Fuji Apples and Sabuska. I think Fuji Apples tried to make the smart play, but tried to do too much right there. Ended up not only killing himself, but Sabuska, it was just too little, too late. So normally Andromeda swaps mean, yo, I'm gonna save you. It's my job as a support hero. I gotta make sure you get your items and you're gonna be okay. But in that situation, it only ended up killing Andromeda as well as Bubbles. Really, sometimes you just can't play fancy. You got to play smart. You got to play solid. And instead of Bubbles going in on a weak Witch Slayer, he needed not to initiate at all right there.
Well, talking about initiation, we do have the Malphus and the Hellbringer. It looks like they were able to destroy the tower. Jojo Flo is going to pay for it with his life, however. But getting a tower and ensuring that it was not denied got his entire team a good amount of gold there. So his sacrifice was probably well worth it, considering it's 14-4. They need all the extra gold at this point they can get to try to even the score with Evil Geniuses.
Yes and no. There's a huge debate always going on. Is it worth dying for a tower? Is it worth dying for a tower? Is it worth dying for a Rax? Well, I think anyone would agree that 9 times out of 10 it's worth dying for a Rax, probably more often than that. But that level 1 tier tower, it's questionable. You don't want to give up kills to the enemy team, but at the same point in time, you have to take those towers out. The gold you do get from the towers, Magnus looks like he's sitting here onto this Behemoth. 1 nuke coming out, and there we go. SS needs to back up. Along with that Magnus, so they're going to play it a little bit safe right here. Yeah, I mean, it's questionable. I could go and talk about the exact gold figures. I could talk about the experience figures and such, or I can sit there and say, it's 50-50. Do I think it was the right play? Probably not. I'm not a fan of it, but at the same point in time, it happened. It's done, and live with the decision. HB gonna end up taking a little bit of damage and a hurt economy, but in return he ends up getting that economy and that gold for his Soul Stealer, and that's really kind of what they're relying on at this point in the game.
Well, that Soul Stealer, he is level 12, 370 gold a minute. He is definitely iteming up very nicely. We do have a pause coming out, but we're going to ignore that and just keep on going. Portal Key has been picked up on Mr. Swish. I mean, about 18-minute mark, not too shabby. Not the world record, but at the same time, he now has a measure of mobility that is going to play very big into these team fights coming up for him, especially if he can jump into a Malphus. If we get a nice Malphus on top of 2 or 3 heroes, he can just portal key right in and then use that stun time to charge up his Soul Burst, and that's going to be a big damage component on top of Team EG.
All right, guys. Well, we're going to take a quick commercial break, and we'll be right back after this. And we're back, ladies and gentlemen. So we do have DuskBin versus EG here. Action maybe not going to happen on bottom. Excuse me. Those are illusions. I got a little tricked right there. My mistake. So let's go ahead. Yeah, right. Let's go ahead. Let's recap what's going on right now. Take it away, Jester.
This is game number 2 of the HoN World Cups, powered by the GoSuGamers.net website. Now, they are in association with SteelSeries for a $40,000 prize pool, and this is game number 2 between teams Evil Geniuses here on the Hellborn, as well as Evil Geniuses on the Legion. DuskBin Esports from the Philippines are here on the Hellborn, and DuskBin is leading the series 1-0. If they can happen to manage to get out of the rut that they're in and take this game, they will be knocking Evil Geniuses to the lower bracket, the losers bracket, and they will move on to the semifinals of the winners bracket. So they got to be feeling the pressure at this point.
Yeah, I mean, $40,000. That is not, you know, cheap change right there. That is a lot of money. It is the largest amount of money a prize pool in Heroes of Earth has seen yet. But I'm sure in the future we're going to see stuff that trumps that quite a bit. Nevertheless, a bit of a lull in the action here. The game's kind of gone back to farming. Looks like Bubbles is going to be going for a Cyclone Stick, which the actual name, Storm Spirit, I want to say. It is evading me. Yep. Sorry, sometimes it is easier to remember the lingo names to these items as opposed to their actual names. Nevertheless, he is going to be going for a disabling item. Corrupted Disciple, sitting there with a Firebrand. Question is, will he turn that into a Geometer's Bane?
Frostburn.
Or Frostburn. There it is. So before I can even talk about what he's going to be going, he goes ahead and shows us. And Behemoth, let's see what gold he's sitting at. 1621. And the push up. Oh, ports coming in bottom. Jester, take it away.
5 ports coming down south. They are going to be wanting to defend this tower. Behemoth Fisher goes down, but it does not look like anybody really wants to die. We did take out Magmus, so he is out of the picture. That Wilders, as well as the Hellbringer, he's being played by Jojo Flow, and just so much damage going down right now on Team DuskBin. I mean, right now, EG, they really wanted to keep this tower, but 3 of them are down as well. Chu, Sabuska, and Fuji Apples have all bit the bullet. Witch Slayer is going to be trying to take on B-Kid. That silver bullet coming out with the Minify, not going to be enough. Look at this B-Kid standing very tall. Oh, no, then again, maybe not. Ninja Boogie's going to take him down a peg after feeling really good about that 1 versus 1. DuskBin really came out of nowhere with that team fight, taking a 3-for-4 exchange. Even more, it is going to be, I do believe that was all 5 of EG biting the dust up here against DuskBin, as well as DuskBin scoring that bottom tower. So they got to be feeling very good, especially with the score as tilted as it is.
All right. Basically, the only way to recap that team fight, yo dog, I heard when Wretched Hag hits a 5 ult and a 5 scream, your team is going to die really fast. No joke, the 5 ports in were a fantastic idea for defense, but when you lined up for Wretched Hag to throw 1 easy ult to hit your entire team, on top of that blinking in and throwing out the sonar scream, man, that's what? 700 magic damage to everybody's face, and they're all slowed before the team fight even began. So, you know, it's great to see the defense, the TPs coming out from EG, but at the same point in time, you have to watch your positioning against the Wretched Hag, because if you make a mistake, this Ninja Boogie, this DuskBin, you know, you're going to get punished extremely hard for that.
And punish is what they exactly did get. I mean, it was essentially a genocide that DuskBin pulled out of their hat. It was a little bit staggered, and the Andromeda Fuji Apples had respawned, but at the same time, as you said, a lot of damage went down. Now, with the ultimate coming out of Ninja Boogie, I mean, Bat Blast does also apply his Haunt, and his Haunt is level 3, so that's an extra 40 magic damage inflicted every 3 seconds for, you know, a good amount of time. So he just did a tremendous job setting up all those kills. Right now, DuskBin's going to take that lead of theirs, going to take their momentum. They're going to try a little bit at least on Dodo, but not too sure what Magmus decided. He wanted to ult, and then he decided to cancel it and just run away instead. So not too sure if they thought it was a great idea or not.
He might have miscued his shift click, and on top of that, they still forced the Shrunken Head off of Forsaken Archer. Taking a look at the item Shrunken Head, it does grant magic immunity from anywhere from 10 all the way down to 5 seconds. Every time you use it, it actually diminishes by 1 second. The first time you use it, you will be magic immune for 10 seconds, then 9, then 8, then 7, then 6, and then 5 is the lowest it goes, and you will be magic immune for only 5 seconds after you've used that item, 5 times. So it's a bit of a diminishing return item. And look at this, Witch Slayer throwing out his sheep, already knows he needs his... Oh, wow, great TP out. And behind the play, though, we do see the Legion team picking off Jojo there. So Hellbringer does end up going down, but Witch Slayer used his miniaturization, knowing CD would not be able to attack during it, and instantly poured it out, knowing the Corrupted Disciple, one of the few carries that does not have a hard disable.
Yeah, there was really nothing Chu could have done. I mean, even without the miniaturization, there's no way that he could have been able to stop the Homecoming Stone from the Witch Slayer. Now, the consolation prize is going to be that Hellbringer. They didn't quite chain the CCs quite enough, because we did have Malphus come out as soon as he was unstunned and uncontrolled, but he still went down to the pressure of 4 heroes. I mean, we do know he's a very tanky hero, but being chain disabled from 0%, 100% to 0% is a pretty awful feeling. Right now, DuskBin's going to do some reconnaissance. Magmus, however, going to be paying that price. He's going to get comboed down. Out comes the Shrunken Head yet again on this Forsaken Archer. They're going to be taking Sabuska, or sorry, Sabuska's going to be help taking Iskaputski down. And look at this Hellbringer again on the wrong place at the wrong time. He's going to get comboed down. No problem. B-Kid, I thought, picked that kill up. Indeed, he did not. Wretched Hague, however, wants to try to make something of it, but Ninja Boogie's just going to go right back down. And Evil Genius is looking very strong, especially after the way that last team fight went.
Yeah, wow. Unbelievable. Just great teamwork right there. Knowing Hag was chasing that behemoth down, the way you stop Hag, you have... Oh, it's a vote to pause. I thought that was for a concede vote. I was like, is the game over already? What's going on? Basically, with Wretched Hag, you have to either silence Hag or crowd control and stun the Wretched Hag. And in this situation, Bubbles threw a perfect orb, and as soon as he got there, silence the Hag. Knowing that silence lasts 3 seconds, you wait 2.5 seconds, then you throw your next disable out. That was... Oh, who was it? I don't remember. Either way... Oh, look at this! Sabuska on Bubbles taking a lot of damage. I really didn't expect that. Bubbles should not die in a situation like that, so I wasn't even watching. I assume Mag stunned in with Witch Slayer, and they just took him from full to death.
Well, chain CC, I mean, with the Magmus stun, you can easily lead that to the graveyard, to the miniaturization. The Silver Bullet was not used, however, but, Bubbles, he only has 800 hit points at this point in the game, so he's not exactly a very tanky hero in this point.
Yeah, I honestly don't know how I feel about going Storm Spirit on him. It's an interesting call. I know that they wanted to get, either a Hag or a Soul Stealer out of the fight, but at the same point in time, oh man, I really think a Portal Key on that Bubbles allows him to play so effectively. He's able to use his pseudo blink as an escape mechanism as opposed to an initiation mechanism, and instead he can use the P-Key to initiate, and it just gives him so much more mobility, so much more flexibility in how he plays. I don't like it. I really don't like getting a Storm Spirit over the Portal Key, but in this situation, it's what Sabuska did, and they're going to roll with it. They're going to be able to take one of the carries, whether it be Wretched Hag or Soul Stealer, out of the fight for 4 seconds, which is a huge deal. Excuse me, not 4 seconds, 2.5 seconds. But I don't know. I just not a fan of the Storm Spirit on Bubbles.
Well, the other aspects of it is the mana regeneration as well as the movement speed. I mean, an extra 25 movement speed in a game where you really can't stack movement speed is a big thing to have. So Sabuska might be going for something of a mobility. But the other aspect of a Storm Spirit is that it can also be used defensively on your own allies to prevent them from receiving more damage. So, and not necessarily an offensive item at this point.
Yep. It looks as though there's 5 heroes in mid. They do want to take down this tier 2 tower. Chu sitting with the Geos and an Ice Sword. Now, as well as a Mystic Vestments and a Power Supply. Mag, nice stun on 2 of them. Hag coming forward, throwing what he can. And look at this Behemoth counter initiation with his ult. And look at the defensive Cyclone coming out from Bubbles. FA doing what he can. SS blinking in with his Shrunken Head on. Getting a double, triple kill, it looks like even. And look at this. EG, although they had such a huge advantage, now looks like it is completely gone. A 4-for-0 trade. So they're going forward, trying to take out that Corrupted Disciple. Red Tag, one more blink, and the Scream. Did we just see a 5-for-0 genocide in favor of the disadvantageous team going into that fight?
You did indeed, sir. DuskBin coming out of that unscathed. Low hit points, sure, but unscathed as they were able to take out all 5 of Evil Geniuses. Now, the Evil Geniuses, as soon as that fight happened, they kind of did fragment off a little bit. I mean, there were heroes off to the left, heroes off to the right. As you did see, the Storm Spirit was very defensive in its use, and I mean, maybe that wasn't the best idea because we were able to pick up a hat trick for Ninja Boogie playing Wretched Hag, and I mean, this Soul Steer getting off that Soul Burst was a lot of damage to put down on top of that team. Right now, DuskBin, I mean, if you think about it, a lot of their combinations for these fights are very, you know, area of effect eccentric. We got, what, the Wretched Hag ultimate. We do have stuff coming out of the Witch Slayer in terms of Graveyard. We do have Malphus going down, which is a big AoE. Another linear stun coming out of Magnus to top that off with an Eruption, if you could, you know, ever get it off. And then just so many Demon Hands and Soul Bursts from the Soul Steer. It's very hard for EG to not clump up in these fights, and that's where the big advantage is being given.
Right, now in this situation, I don't like Wretched Hag farming. Magnus needs that portal key. It's already 30 minutes. It's after 30 minutes into the game. Magnus needs to get this portal key much sooner. Hag, not really close to any big item, you know, anytime soon. So I would really, really, really like to see Magnus being given the main farm right here. We'll see what DuskBin does. And look at this Hag going in, throwing out the Shrunken Head, doing work on Behemoth. Nice swap by Andromeda. I don't think Hag's going to be able to finish this one up, so he's going to have to go ahead and back up. And I'm sorry if you keep hearing dings in the background. My phone is being completely lit up right now. I thought it's on silent, but it just won't stay. Thank you, Verizon. I am. What can I say? Thank you, Verizon, for having an amazing operating system on your phones that allow it to be silent.
Well, that's our shout out for the day, but we do have EG going to be taking round number 2 on this tower. Unfortunately, they are going to be able to get this one, no problem, and that's only unfortunate for DuskBin because maybe they're hoping for an encore performance, not going to be granted at least at this point. Now, when that genocide did go down, Kongor has been removed from the map, and it's pretty easy to tell that Soul Steer is just doing loads of awesome in this game. Let's just take a quick look at him. He does have himself that Shrunken Head. He's had it for a little bit, but on top of that, he's finished up his Geometer's Bane. That's going to give him a lot of extra damage. In fact, Geometer's Bane is the best DPS item of the game as it spawns 2 illusions, 33% extra damage taken from you. So now you're not doubling your damage, you're actually 230ing your damage for an extra 66%. It's going to be used to great effect right here in this team fight as Bubbles tried his best to get that kill, just not going to be happening, and now it does look like, you know, the EG team is in full retreat. We didn't even actually have to use the Geometers, but that was very unfortunate for the Bubbles and very strong presence coming out of DuskBin.
Now, it looks as though the only one that went down right there was Bubbles, but I thought I saw 2 kills. Nope. And look at this SS coming in here using the illusions now. Andromeda throwing this. Oh, jeez. Everybody doing what they can. That SS is going to go down. But he is going to Shrunken Head after the fact. Come in, get the kill onto Andromeda. And it looks as though everything's going to kind of settle out right now.
Yeah, people are going to settle down. They're going to back off. I mean, now Evil Geniuses have done something that they've needed to do, which is get rid of that token of life. So right now, this Soul Stealer, you know, played by Mr. Swish, who was, I believe, Defiler last game, he has that safety blanket now removed. He does not have an extra life, so he has to be very careful about what he pops. Now, using that Shrunken Head, as soon as he came up alive, I guess he was expecting a lot more of a team fight, but that's just going to knock an extra second off his duration later on, and that may or may not be a mistake.
Yeah, quick tip for anybody that is not super pro at the game, which trust me, you don't need to be to enjoy these casts. Whenever you do have a token and you have a shrunken head carry, use your shrunken head once you lose your token and come back alive. The reason you do that is everybody will blow like their huge bursts or whatever, or their single target spells kind of on you trying to burn that token down. Afterwards, when you have the second round of disables coming out, you're going to sit there and laugh in their face. If you blow your shrunken head instantly, they're just going to ignore you, kill off the rest of your team, and now you're in a 1-on-5 situation and you don't have magic immunity coming up. For instance, that's the way it can end up playing. So instead, you want them to kind of focus you, let your team do all the work around you, keep them alive by letting them focus you without your magic immunity, and then, you know, they'll focus you down, hopefully, and now you sit there and you have a magic immunity after you die, and you're fighting a 5-on-5, and a lot of their disables are already kind of out, so it works out just a lot better. And on top of that, you might end up winning the fight without needing to blow that shrunken head from beforehand. For instance, you have the token, you just automatically, you know, you guys are just so far ahead, you win the fight. Now you don't have that 1 second dock on your shrunken head. So just in general, it's all around smart play. Don't use your shrunken head if you have token. Use it after your token is expelled.
Thank you for that, Mr. Rabbi. Now, Soulsteer, after that fight, he's got himself an Ice Brand, and this is more of a typical ranged hero agility makeup. He is going to go for that Geometer's Bane, which is right there, 66% extra damage. On top of that, he's going to get himself a Frostwolf Skull, which is great hit points. Not going to be worrying about that right now. The Soul Burst coming out on top of the Malphus. That's just a big damage going down right now on B-Kid as he has hit the hay. And now we do see Soulsteer just flying around a little bit with that Cyclone. Not going to matter too much as Wretched Hag is able to help clean up everything here. Corrupted Disciple trying his best, but those are illusions as well. But Wretched Hag is just going to be... No, Mr. Swish, my mistake. Going to be grabbing himself another kill on top of that with that Forsaken Archer. It just looks like right now they're destroying every defense Evil Geniuses can throw at them.
Well, it looked as though Sabuska went down before the fight even started. Nice orb in right there. And look at that, EG Chu picking up the kill on Wretched Hag, so... Great job, and sounded like a slow one out right there. Mag stunning in onto Corrupt Disciple, blinking away. Hellbringer going to port, and yet again, Corrupt Disciple, no hard disable. Not a whole lot he can do about that. DuskBin is only fought pretty much 4-on-5 or 5-on-4 in their favor. They've been taking out this Bubbles, or someone for that matter, before the team fights start. This happened 2 or 3 times so far. You know, without that initiation coming out from Bubbles, you lose a 3-second area of effect damage silence. Another 280 damage orb, and a stun, given it's not the longest duration, but it's got good damage on it, and it forces them to sit inside of the stun area, because if they leave, then it stuns for an extra 3 seconds, and that stun is huge. So, without Bubbles to initiate in that fight, there's just not a whole lot you can do. And really, DuskBin doing a great job picking off an enemy hero before they force a team fight. And when you go in with, you know, a 4-on-5, what happens in hockey when it's 4-on-5? What happens if you were to play basketball 4-on-5? It's unbelievably difficult to win. So, exactly. So great job overall by DuskBin picking off a hero before the team fight starts, then forcing the fight. You know, right now they're sitting with a nice experience lead, even though they are at a gold disadvantage. But we'll see. I mean, we'll see how the game plays out from this point forward.
Well, right now, Evil Geniuses has to really be careful of Mr. Swish. He's 9-0, the only hero not to have died yet this game, but his numbers are so very impressive. 666 experience a minute. No, that shouldn't be related. But he's also up to nearly 500 gold a minute. I mean, keeping that up this late into the game, it shows his items. Talking about items, Hellbringer, his items are not going to be helping him, but that Life Void tanking really kept him up alive a good amount there. It does look like Witchstar is going to be hitting the hay, and Mr. Swish coming in. I don't think his Soul Burst actually hit that many people, but it is just helping him. Look at this, a hat trick. He just comes into the fight, late into the fight, gets himself a hat trick. I mean, Chu, he's going to try his best here. It's not going to happen. Not at all. Quad kill coming up for Mr. Swish, and this is the big problem with the Soul Stealer hero. As soon as he starts snowballing, it is so bloody hard to keep him down.
Bloodbath. I don't know if you have that turned on, but I think it's set at 4 times that fight. So Great job by Mr. Swish coming in with the carry. As you said, 500 gold a minute. That is absurd. Against EG, arguably the best team in the world. Like, that does not happen. That should not happen. EG is so good at controlling the game. Chu is so good at controlling the game that it's so hard to get a good farm against them. They man up and they do so many things right. And in this situation, Mr. Swish is just saying, hey, I'm going to farm 500 gold a minute on my Soul Stealer. I'm going to come in and go 13-0 against your team. This has got to be one of the best performances I've ever seen against Team EG.
And here we go, Mr. Swish finishing up that combination that I tried to allude to a little bit earlier. The Frostwolf Skull synergizes extremely well with Geometer's Bane because when you pop out your illusions, you are going to be throwing snowballs. Right now you're going to be throwing snowballs, but those two illusions also inherit the slow from that Frostwolf Skull. So not only can you summon 2 extra beings of yourself for extra damage, you can now also permanently slow down heroes that do not have any kind of teleport, and they're never going to leave your range. On top of that, he has himself a Shrunken Head for any kind of counter ganking, as well as a Portal Key, which means after you've been slowed, he can just jump in front of you anyways. So this is the whole snowballing concept of ranged agility heroes, and Mr. Swish is playing it to perfection. 761 experience a minute. I mean, he's level 24. He's leagues ahead of anyone else in this game right now.
Right, now the one thing to note, Corrupted Disciple versus Soul Stealer in a one-on-one situation, if Corrupted Disciple can get a good conduit off, he's actually going to outcarry this Soul Stealer because of his damage negation. So, you know, he steals the damage that Soul Stealer can put out. Oh, here we go, Mag Portal Key stunning in, and it looks as though Chu is going to get out just fine. Neither team really wanting to initiate. Both teams need to be extremely careful in this situation. One bad team fight at this point in the game, you give up Kongor, maybe a Rax, and that type of an advantage could potentially be insurmountable if you have that token on a hero such as a Soul Stealer.
Now, we are talking a lot about Soul Stealer, but I mean, Chu here on Evil Geniuses, I mean, he's doing his best he can. He's not doing sloppy by any means. Over 500 experience a minute and close to 400 gold a minute. Those are still very respectable numbers. Now, he has also gone this ranged agility carry setup, as in that is going to be the Geometer's Bane as well as the Frostwolf Skull. And as you know yourself, Rabbi did allude to, if you can get off that one-on-one situation, he should most likely get out of that pretty decently. The only problem, however, is that we have been seeing like these pickoffs before fights, and then the full frontal force of the team coming down on top of the survivors, and that has just not been working for Evil Geniuses. And it's going to happen again right here. Look at Fuji Apples up in this top forest right now. His team has to come help him, and it does look like this team is here. The Kelp Field at Malphus as well as the Soul Burst all going down, and that's just going to insta-give the turtle, Bubbles, as he goes down. But 2 DuskBin also hitting the dust. The Hellbringer did get off his Malphus. He did do his job before he went down. But right now, Iskaputski, he's also in the grave, so to speak. Finally, we do have Ninja Boogie being taken down, but Mr. Swish is still on a bloodbath. And right now, I'm not too sure if they're going to be able to grab this kill. It should be, there we go. It should be fairly simple to grab any kind of AoE onto him, and that's going to be his first death. So right now, Evil Geniuses bringing that a little bit back into their favor, but at the same time, is it going to be enough to keep that momentum going?
Well, Chu rage bought back thinking the fight was going to keep coming. I don't really think he's the type of player to rage buyback. I really think he felt the fight was going to be prolonged enough where a buyback warranted, or a buyback was warranted, shall I say. And wow, just what a team fight. Everyone throwing what they can. Hard to really say who came out on top and who didn't right there. What I can say, Soul Stealer dying, that's a big deal. That's another 55 seconds. You don't have to worry about a Soul Stealer. So EG, potentially with Chu being able to buy back right there, could come out and try and take Kongor or something along those lines. I'm surprised they haven't yet. Magnus using his ult fully to try and take out CD. That was his main target. That's where his blink went. And then blowing his stun afterwards to make sure CD ended up dying. And it kind of, EG, I don't like what they're doing here. With SS down, you have to force some sort of a forward aggression. Chu did buy out, and he's not doing anything with it. So, a bit of a misplay there by EG.
Well, he is doing a little bit of farming. He's going to be denying the top jungle farm here to DuskBin, but at the same time, it is far down the list on important things to do with a Soul Stealer dead. They should have really, tried to do that forward aggression, as he said. Set up an advanced front, take a tower, or put pressure here, keep them locked up, and then swoop behind for that Kongor kill. Unfortunately, it just does not happen, and Mr. Soul Stealer is back on the scene. He's going to be another wrecking force. If we can get him out of the picture yet again, we might see something of a bit more of a confident Evil Geniuses. I mean, right now they do have that gold lead, 10,000, but a lot of that can also be attributed to just the sheer number of towers that they still have standing.
Yeah, those towers giving away so much gold. I'm surprised this DuskBin team hasn't tried to force their advantage more that they had a bit earlier with Soul Stealer just being so strong. It's not necessarily a team advantage. It's the fact that Soul Stealer can basically 1v5 their opponents. Not quite, of course, and even CD in a one-on-one situation is going to beat him due to Corrupted Conduit, but I don't know, man. It's getting pretty crazy. It's at that point where one team fight will determine the game, and on top of that, Kongor might even determine the game, because as we've said before, token on a hero like Soul Stealer or token on a hero like Chu, on a hero like Corrupted Disciple, it can be game turning. So right now, both teams, the gold differential, it's big, but it's not that big. Experience differential basically mitigated. What you have to look for is keeping your Soul Stealer alive and being able to have him come in and do the damage he needs to do to this Legion team.
Well, right now, both teams are just staying back, surveying their options. It does look like Andromeda is going to be the forward scout. Now, we did have the courier from the Hellborn team coming down here, invincible, doing a little bit of recon, but at the same time, nobody was being able to find. I don't know who Beak just jumped onto, but it does look like Behemoth is going to be in a world of hurt. Magmus coming in with a great eruption, so that's going to be a great job on him. That just sets the tone right now. 2 dead, 3 dead heroes here for EG, and that is just, Chu is just so far behind right now. He has to run away from this entire team. It does look like someone has bought back. Behemoth has bought back, as well as Subuska in a little bit of trouble. He's going to get out of that, or at least he should get out of that. But look at them just run right now for Mr. Swish. He is just so far ahead of this game right now. 3 heroes in, like, running away from him, so to speak, as... Oh yeah, there he is. Chu is actually going to be trying to take out this Hellbringer, Jojo Flow. Unfortunately, Ninja Boogie has other plans for him. Now he goes down. Whew, sorry about that.
So, unbelievable. Witchslayer actually... Oh, look at this Bubbles. Nice job getting out of there away from the Wretched Hag. So, Witchslayer, he's like, yo dog, I'm going to miniaturize Corrupted Disciple. And this was after Corrupted Disciple had already popped his illusions from his Geometer's Bane. And he was sitting at like 400 health or something like that. Now, popping the miniaturization onto Corrupted Disciple, it will slow you for a reasonable amount of time. I want to say 1.2 seconds. Yeah, 80% movement slow for 1.2 seconds. Chu noticed this. This is how good of a carry Chu is. He notices this, so he sends his illusions to target Witchslayer, knowing that the illusions are going to be able to catch up while running his personal self away, trying to escape. So he's escaping with his normal hero, microing his illusions back, knowing Witchslayer is slowed. Then they apply the Frostwolf Skull Slow to Witchslayer. Witchslayer died. Chu picked up a kill because of his awareness of the entire map, because of his awareness of his skills, what Witchslayer did to him, and his illusions. This is why Chu is arguably the best carry player in the world, best solo mid player in the world. It's little things like that that really separate EG from players that are, on top 16 team or top 32 teams in the world. So great job there by Chu, great awareness. And I just wanted to throw that one in there because that was just an unbelievable play.
Well, we do have Team DuskBin down here in the bottom jungle, the Legion jungle. They're just going to be running out of that. I do think Evil Geniuses wanted to try to get something out of that. Unfortunately, not going to be happening this round, and everyone's just kind of sitting on their haunches at this point. 34-30 is the score, 47 minutes into this game, so 64 kills in 47 minutes. That's a pretty decent number. A lot of action going down on both teams, and right now still I mean, the flow of the game has definitely been in DuskBin's favor. They've been winning a lot of team fights, and you see the snowball effect on Mr. Swish, but the numbers don't lie. I mean, we still have towers and gold advantage now for Evil Geniuses. Corrupted Disciple is going to be getting caught down here with 4 heroes to him right now. A great swap coming out in Drama. That's going to save his life, at least for a little bit, but Mr. Swish, he's going to come around right here. Corrupted Disciple coming in with the help of the Kelp Field, most likely going to be getting this Hellbringer, but no, just so much crowd control going down, and Mr. Swish coming in for the kill. And right now, like with his 2 images up, he is a force to be reckoned with. A great eruption coming out from the Magmus. Now he's going to be running away, as well as Ninja Boogie, and right now is just not looking good for EG right now. Behemoth is not going to get out of that. It's just so much damage going down. Mr. Swish with another hat trick. That's going to be putting him here at a score of 17-1, and that looks like a genocide to me, sir.
Absolutely. Huge play right there by DuskBin. Really just catching Chew, being able to take him down so low, so fast. Wretched Hag, something I want to commentate on is the fact that he did pick up Sheep Stick. I think he's had it for the last couple fights, actually. I was looking for the hero on DuskBin that had a Sheep Stick, because I saw a sheep go off, after which had already been killed. So, you know, that extra crowd control is what gave them the team fight. You know, being able to miniaturize Corrupt Disciple for an extra 3.5 seconds and wail on him for an extra little bit of time, you get so far ahead in the team fight before Behemoth can get there, before Andromeda can get there. So when CD comes back into the fight, he's sitting there at half health. He's easy to kill. You know, a full HP Corrupt Disciple, tough to kill. Half HP or quarter HP Corrupt Disciple, not that scary. You know, you can actually burst him down as opposed to being able, or as opposed to being forced to auto-attack him over time, where Corrupt Disciple is his strongest. So, great job there by DuskBin. Great item choice by Ninja Boogie. And they look like they are going to be able to probably push a mid-tower coming up.
Well, as I said, a little bit about the flow of the game. Right now, it's heavy in DuskBin's favor. They have been winning a lot of these team fights, despite whatever kind of defenses or ambushes that Evil Geniuses have been able to throw at them right now. And that is now putting Evil Geniuses into a very defensive mindset. It is still very curious that we have no extra pushing done here by DuskBin, but they were able to pick up another life token here for Mr. Swish, and like, honestly, he's done buying items. He doesn't need money anymore. Every cent he saves from here on out is most likely going to become for buyback money. And right now, I mean, he's feeling good. He's feeling good.
Anyways, so my game has bugged out slightly. I actually am a little bit ahead of you there. So I think we're going to take a quick commercial break. We'll be back in just a moment. We're back, ladies and gentlemen. Sorry about the minor issues right there. Just some technical difficulties. Replay system can be a bit buggy at times here with Heroes of Newerth. We're going to go ahead and look into some quick fixes for that. Nevertheless, we do have a push coming here in mid. Jester, how do you think this push is going to go? Where would you put DuskBin right now in the game?
DuskBin is definitely ahead in the game. They've taken now the experience lead, and the last few team fights has been a very big demoralizing factor here for Evil Geniuses. A lot of crowd control going down on the fantastic carries of both Chew and Dodo, but at the same time, it doesn't seem to be enough that whatever EG does, it just gets countered so very hard by DuskBin, and you can blame a lot of that at the feet of both Ninja Boogie and Mr. Swish at this point. So they are in a very strong position. They have the Kongor token, and now they're finally starting to push down these remaining towers. And now this is going to be their first step to going on the offense. Right now, Evil Geniuses has always come to them, and the fights have always been on their side of the map. So now it's a little bit reversed. Evil Geniuses has said, we can't do this anymore. Got to be a little bit defensive. We got to fight them on our terms. And DuskBin, they're like, well, we've just fed massively off a lot of those team fights right there, and they're feeling really good. So they're on their first steps right here to winning the game.
Right, yeah, you know, Mr. Swish, as you had said, countering the style of play that EG has thrown at them to an extent. My biggest note on his style is his Soul Stealer is patient. And a lot of Soul Stealers are like, I'm Soul Stealer, I'm going to run it. Oh, wait, Action Top. Sorry about that. It looks as though Curb Disciple getting caught. I didn't even think he was still up here. And he took a lot of damage there. Mag stunning it and just kind of doing some work. But, wow. I'm sorry. I didn't think she was still up there. That's why I was going to commentate on the Soul Stealer. Did you see exactly how he got caught?
Oh, well, he pushed the tower, and then he paid for it. I mean, he knew the Homecoming Stones were coming out, but he also knew that at this point, we need to start working on DuskBin's base. And so he was able to push down this top tower by himself, and 5 stones came in on him. He actually ran into the base. I figured he was going to deny himself on the base laser, or the base fire, tree, bird, whatever the defense is. But no, I mean, we had this little discussion a little bit earlier, trading a life for a tower, and that's exactly what he did. He did it totally, 100%, knew what he was doing.
Well, that's his call. I'm not going to really question Chu in that situation. I don't like the call. He put himself down for 90 seconds, and he's going to end up having to buy back here in a little bit, most likely. So really not worth it whatsoever, in my opinion. But, he is Chu, and he really doesn't make a whole lot of mistakes. So if he felt it was worth the death for the tower, I'm going to go with him on that. But, yeah, I don't know if I would have done the same in his situation. Nevertheless, Soul Stealer, he's so patient, waits for the team fight to develop, trusts his team to stay alive, Hellbringer, Hag, such like that, comes in throughout, like, I'd say midway through the team fight with the Shrunken Head, the ult, and he just blows them up. And really, that's how you have to play Soul Stealer. Soul Stealer is not the type of run and gun, go in like an Armadon that can just start chasing down heroes. Instead, you want to let the team fight develop. You want to come in a little bit into the team fight. You don't want to be the guy that's opening up with nukes. Instead, you want to let the other team commit to the fight, and then you come in. Then you counter-initiate with your ult. And I've seen Mr. Swish do it time and time again. So great heads-up play, great sense of timing by Mr. Swish playing that Soul Stealer. And, one more good team fight here, and we may see the end of EG.
We definitely may. I mean, it's such a strong early game, but DuskBin, they didn't mind. They knew how very well that their heroes scale later on. I mean, we're about to hit the 55-minute mark now, and at this point, 36-36, and this was a team that was down at one point 14-2. So, I mean, they've really come up. They definitely know the scaling, but it looks like Soul Stealer, he's going to get comboed upon here in the mid, and that's going to be baiting us into the mid as well. About comes Malphus catching Chu. Chu seems to be the prime target at this point, but they might be able to pick up a Bubbles beforehand. They already insta-gibbed that Andromeda, but out goes the Witch Slayer. He's back in town. Well, the Grave Town, I suppose. But Soul Stealer, they finally got able to take out his Token of Life. He's going to Portal Key out of that. Very smooth timing on that, but big important parts here for EG is that they came out ahead. They got rid of the Token of Life. They might even be able to pick up the Hellbringer kill, but he's going to use the Tablet of Command. Not going to be enough. Chu going to be taking them down, and that was a very big thing that Evil Geniuses, they needed that fight to go exactly the way it did.
Yeah, and on top of the fight going the way it needed to, the big highlight of that fight, Behemoth fissuring Magmus, who's over in the corner, almost completely out of sight, knowing Mag was trying to set up for the Peaky ult. Behemoth threw out the fissure, stopped the Peaky ult from going off, and that saved them that fight. Mag not getting his ult off is why they won the team fight. It's why they're going to push mid tower here and why they may potentially take Rack. So, great heads-up play. I heard a Peaky, Forsaken Archer, Magmus, everybody's doing what they can. SS sitting there working on a CD illusion, it looks like, and wow, unbelievable. Everybody doing what they can. Bubbles tried to come in. Cyclone Stick going on Behemoth, and just so much action going on right now. Forsaken Archer taking a lot of damage. He gets stunned by Magmus. Bubbles another take cover, throws the ult out. Mag trying to invis and disjoint, not going to work. Bubbles throwing his ult. Behemoth coming in, doing some work. And geez, look at this. And here we go, one-on-one situation. CD with Conduit on the Soul Stealer. That was huge. Soul Stealer couldn't do anything from that point forward.
Except that Soul Stealer is bought back now.
Right, true.
And
SS coming in, and look at the buybacks. Magmus going down. CD is in the fight doing some work. SS may end up going down again. And look at this nice Astrolabe coming out. Not going to be enough, though. I thought Hellbringer might have saved Soul Stealer right there. And Hag trying to come and do what he can. Conduit going off on him again. And CD is the carry of the game. Wow, CD is just doing so much work right now. And look at this. Hellborn has destroyed tower. FA has actually gone to top lane. And it looks as though EG is going to be coming out. Although Behemoth taking a lot of damage, he's going to go down. I don't think he's going to care. He's already picked up his sheep stick, so it's not like he needs any items. You know, he's not hurting for a portal key. He's not hurting for another item after that. And Hag throwing the Shrunken Head and the ult, missing though. Bubbles using the orb to get away, and it looks as though CD may want to try and come in on this Wretched Hag and or Witch Slayer. And look at that. He's actually getting sheeped right now. Are they going to be able to chase this? I don't know. Bubbles coming in, throwing the silence out as well. CD doing some work. Malphus ult coming out. Witch goes down. Hag goes down. And EG picking up a couple kills. Forsaken joining the fight. And DuskBin, after all the work, all the comebacks that they've done, I'm getting worried right now for them. It looks as though the carries, both Forsaken Archer and Corrupted Disciple, have now really secured their spot as carries and can take on that Soul Stealer in this game.
It almost looks like a brand new team in this, but at this point, I mean, Evil Genius is more living up to their namesake. I mean, 48-39, I think they killed something like, what, 9, 10, 11 heroes. We did have Soul Stealer buyback at least twice in that fight. I mean, right now, they have the big advantage to lose. Soul Stealer is not even bothering with defense. He's just going back down into these bottom lanes, but 2 Raxes down for DuskBin. That's going to be 2 lanes of very hard creeps to kill, and I'm not too sure, but I think Dodo wants to try to end this right here, right now.
Yeah, I'm speechless. I'm utterly shocked. DuskBin, you know, horrid start, makes such amazing plays throughout the mid game, starts to come back, really doing fantastic work, and then they blow it in the end. And now, you know, EG is right back in this. Look at this Soul Stealer. I'm sorry, that is an illusion. I get tricked by that so often. Make it easier to see, S2. But look, I mean, they're not even defending their base tower, or their throne towers, or their shrine towers, excuse me. Like, their shrine towers went from full to 1 going down and 1's at half, and Hellbringer's just sitting there doing what he can to defend. But with, as you said, with these 2 Raxes down, the defense becomes so much harder, and because you have to sit and focus on defense, you can't do things like check Kongor. Kongor goes down. Rift Shards now, level 4 on Corrupted Disciple. Look how hard CD hits. Now add Conduit to that, which is taking away, I want to say, 100, or is it 200 damage? No, 260 damage, right?
At
he takes
max?
away, yeah.
Let's see, plus 20 per charge, and how many charges?
I think it's 7. It's 7 or 13.
Well,
either way,
it's one of the two.
It's an unbelievable amount of time. Yeah, that's just absurd. You know what? I'm pretty sure it's 7 seconds, so it's 140 damage pickup and 140 damage less for them. Man.
Either way, it's huge. I mean, yeah, taking away a good chunk of the hit point, the damage there from Mr. Swish, and adding it there to Chew. I mean, that's the last thing you ever want to see, is a Chew like almost doubling his own damage.
Right. So CD coming in here with the bananas, not scared whatsoever. And look at this, Shrunken Head going out on Wretched Hag, doing what she can. Shrunken Head's all over the place. Witch Slayer behind, stunning Corrupted Disciple. He's probably going to throw his bananas down. Oh no, he has a token. It was FA with the bananas. And then SS coming in with a huge ult. That was what was needed. And look at this Swish coming in, doing work on Sabuska, but CD coming in, also trying to save his teammate. Orb coming out from Bubbles. Nice silence. And then, oh, jeez, CD just hits so hard. Stun's coming out. Mag doing what he can. And Soul Stealer now actually getting Cyclone. Behemoth porting in. Stun's going out. Good stun by Witch Slayer, hitting both Bubbles and Corrupted Disciple. Everybody throwing out what they can right now. Swap stun coming out onto Soul Stealer, and he may end up dying. Nice stun, though. Trying to keep his Soul Stealer alive. Not going to happen. Behemoth coming in with the ultimate, making sure he dies. And it does look like EG is going to take this one down. Wow. Wow.
Huh.
It's unbelievable.
Well, they kind of wavered there a little bit in the mid game. I mean, that was a huge comeback out of DuskBin, but in the end, it does look like that, you know, Chew and the Evil Geniuses teamwork just really outplayed DuskBin in those last few fights.
Yeah, that's unbelievable. So we're gonna have to go to a game 3 here. So we're gonna grab that replay. We're gonna Get ready to cast, and we'll have it for you guys here on Cybernetics TV coming up next.